After my heart surgery, I wrote in the family chat, "Who can pick me up from the hospital?" My daughter coldly replied, "Call a taxi. I'm watching my show." And her husband added with a laugh, "Stay in the hospital for another month. It's so peaceful without you." But that evening, when they saw me on the news, everything changed. Their phones lit up with panic. 67 missed calls. If you're watching this video, tell me where you're from or what time it is for you. The beeping woke me before the pain did. Cold light, white ceiling tiles in neat rows, tubes climbing my arms like plastic vines. My mouth was sand. Something heavy strapped my chest from the inside. A nurse leaned in. "Gloria, you with me?" I tried to speak. Air rasped. "Hey." He squeezed my shoulder. "You made it." The door slid open. A doctor with silver streaks in her hair and a badge that read Hayes stepped in, flipping a chart. "Good morning," she said. "You underwent emergency cardiac surgery 2 days ago. Triple bypass. Your heart stopped for 47 seconds. We brought you back." 47 seconds. The number hit like a gavel. She watched my face. "You're stable now. The pain's part of healing." "Family." It croaked out, a word with edges. Dr. Hayes glanced at the nurse. "We didn't have anyone waiting. We left messages with the contact numbers you listed." I nodded or thought I did. Even a nod hurt. She checked the clock. "We'll do a walk test later. Text your people if you can. Let them know you're awake." When they left, the room hummed. Monitors, air vents, far-off wheels on linoleum. I found my phone in the bedside drawer. The case had a crack by the camera, spidering out like frost. I hit the side button. Screen on. Notifications piled in. News alerts. Pharmacy reminders. A coupon for a hair salon. Some stranger selling patio furniture. No messages from Marcus. None from Keisha. I scrolled back. The last thing I'd sent before the surgery was a text to our family chat. "They're taking me in. I love you." No reply. I typed with slow thumbs. "Awake. Can someone come by?" I stared at the chat bubble, tiny dots pulsing. They stopped. Nothing arrived. A nurse I hadn't seen before stepped in with a basin. Younger, locks pulled back. Name tag Samuel. "Let's freshen up." He wrung a cloth, steam lifting from it. "On a scale of 1 to 10, pain?" 8. "We'll adjust." He dabbed my forehead, my cheekbones. "Anyone we can call?" I texted. I watched the door like it owed me something. He nodded, the kind nurse's nod that hides judgment and keeps moving. "We'll get you sitting later. You're doing great." When he left, I opened the family thread again and typed, "Discharge maybe tomorrow. I'll need a ride." The typing dots returned. A message from Keisha slid up. "Call a taxi. I'm watching my show." I waited. Maybe a joke. Maybe another message would follow with a laughing emoji. Some soft landing. Nothing. Another bubble appeared. "Marcus. Stay in the hospital for another month. It's so nice without you." The text was neat, like he'd ironed it before pressing send. The monitor beeped faster. An alarm chirped and Samuel reappeared, quiet and efficient, pressing buttons, checking my lines. "Breathe with me," he said. "In, out." I set the phone face down on the blanket. "Better?" he asked. I nodded. Air found a path. "Good." He lowered his voice. "You're not alone while you're here. Okay." He looked me in the eye until I looked back. "We've got you." After he left, I picked up the phone again and typed, "I can reimburse. Just please come." No answer. The afternoon dragged in gray. The window framed a slice of skyline. Buildings flat as cardboard. People living in squares I couldn't see into. Dr. Hayes came back with images. She pointed to tunnels and branches on a black and white printout. This graft is solid. This one was tricky. You'll walk again. You'll drive. You'll work if you choose. But not today. Tomorrow. She shrugged. If you pass the walk test, you could discharge in the morning. Okay. You said your son-in-law's name is Marcus. I nodded. If he can pick you up, that's best. It's jarring to go home alone. She paused, studied my face. You're allowed to need help, Mrs. Just Gloria. Gloria. You're allowed to need help. Sure. She tucked the printouts into the chart and left me with the hushing machines and the light. Evening crawled in. The window went navy. In some room down the hall, a television laughed. Laughter canned and bright for someone else. I opened photos to avoid the empty chat. There was Marcus at Stone Mountain last summer, standing with his arms crossed, sunglasses on, looking like he owned the view. There was Keisha at her graduation, cap tilted, smile wide, holding my hand like I was her whole world. She was laughing, mouth open, fearless, 25, and sure the world would always hand her a soft place to land. The nurse wheeled in a tray. Broth, a little cup of red gelatin that tasted like the color, not like fruit. I ate mechanical, then closed my eyes and tried to sleep. My chest woke me every time. After midnight, the phone buzzed. A news alert. Another coupon. The family thread stayed quiet. A dark door. I typed to Keisha privately. Baby, I'm scared. Please come tomorrow. The message hung there. When it didn't move, something in me did. Dr. Hayes had said I would walk again. Fine. I would walk. Morning. Samuel stood me up. The world tipped, then steadied. 1 step, he said. I took it. The cord on the heart monitor tugged. He walked backward, pulling the 4-pole, watching my knees. Again. I took another. By the 3rd, my chest burned. By the 5th, a film of sweat mapped my neck. You're stubborn, he said. I like stubborn. We made it to the door. A woman with a mop paused to let us pass. Her shoes squeaked. The hall was a strip of light. Far at the end, the elevator blinked its floors. Gloria conquers 10 yards, Samuel announced like a sportscaster. Fans go wild. I smiled and hated how crying felt the same in my chest as laughing. Back in bed, he handed me a form. Discharge papers, just in case. If the doctor signs, you can go home today. Home. The word was a stretch. I wasn't sure my muscles had. He put a pen in my good hand. My signature looked like someone else's name had tried to climb out of a fire. Dr. Hayes signed after lunch. You passed, she said. Go slow. You'll have follow-ups. No lifting, no arguments. She gave me a look like she knew that last part was impossible. Someone's coming for you. I'll call a taxi. She waited, but I didn't offer more. She patted the rail. You made it out of 47 seconds. You can make it through a car ride. I dressed in hospital bathroom light, moving like glass. The mirror showed a woman a shade paler than she remembered. The scar was a zipper, new and angry, marching down the center of me. I buttoned a blouse over it and left the top 2 undone because anything else scraped. At the nurse's station, Samuel slid a small envelope across the counter. Discharge instructions, numbers if you feel anything weird. He leaned in. You have this. Okay. You have you. Thank you. You'll come back for stitches, he said, and then softer. Text me when you're home, just so I know. In the elevator, the world felt vertical. A volunteer in a red vest smiled like this was the end of a movie where everyone cried for happy reasons. The hospital doors parted. Heat rolled over me. The sky was stark blue, like it had been scrubbed with bleach. I ordered a taxi. It said 15 minutes. It took 10. The driver glanced at my wristband and said nothing, which was kindness. Street names slid by. My neighborhood rose up fast, too familiar. I braced without meaning to. My house sat where I'd left it, brick-tired around the edges. A plastic flamingo from some old cookout still perched in a bed of dead mulch. It was looking at the street like it expected music. The driver popped the trunk. I lifted my small bag and felt the reminder in my chest. I breathed the pain back down and paid him. He nodded, pulled away. I had not asked Marcus for a key. The lock knew me anyway. The door swung in. The smell hit first. Beer. Sweet. Something fried that had given up days ago. A candle burned on the coffee table, drowning in itself. Wax pooled with glitter. Balloons from nothing I knew hung low, half dead. The sink was full. The couch had a dent shaped like two people. The TV remote lay sticky and warm on a cushion. Someone had taped a paper sign to the fridge in thick marker. Silence equals peace. I stood there until standing was a choice I had to keep making. In the kitchen, confetti clung to the tile. My mug sat on the counter, ring of old coffee around its mouth like a bruise. I picked it up and put it in the sink. The clink was too loud. I opened the fridge. Boxes, bottles, a cake with a finger trench through its frosting. My phone buzzed in my pocket. At last. I pulled it out. It was a voicemail transcription from a number I didn't recognize. Hi, Mrs. Gloria. This is local channel 11. We saw your story on the Heart Foundation South Bulletin. And another buzz, a text from a neighbor. Gloria, are you back? Call me. The family thread stayed still. Marcus's last message hung at the top like a sign over a door. Stay for another month. It's so nice without you. I walked the hall. The bedroom carried the cool of untouched sheets. The closet had lost weight. A row of empty hangers faced me like ribs. In the nightstand, under an old book, I found the manila folder with my will inside, paper dry as bone, my name in bold at the top. Marcus's name, Keisha's. The words I had written to make sure everybody else was safe if I wasn't. I set the folder on the bedspread and sat. The mattress bowed around me as if it remembered. The phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. Another voicemail about a story, a sit-down, a light and a camera and telling the truth. I looked at the ceiling. It stared back, blank and patient. 47 seconds had let me go. The rest of my life was here, waiting, a stack of papers and a decision the size of my chest. I picked up the pen. The ink scratched as I made a note across the will in big letters that knew exactly what they were doing. Tomorrow, I would take this note downtown. Tonight I would lock my own front door. Morning found me already dressed, shoes on, pen ridge still pressed into my fingers from the note I'd scrolled across the will. The house had gone quiet in the dark, but daylight didn't forgive it. It revealed things. I started with the living room, moving slow, heart thudding a metronome under the bandage. Evidence, not memories. On the coffee table, 4 beer bottles in a diamond, lipstick on 2, an ashtray migrated from the porch with a small mountain of grey. A plastic tiara slept on a throw pillow. Someone had written Queen on it with glitter glue that still flaked when I touched it. The mantel had my photo from the family reunion. Marcus in the background, sunglasses on, arms around Keisha. A smear of frosting streaked the glass like a comet tail. I wiped it with my sleeve and set the frame upright again. The kitchen was a confession. Cake box open, finger trenched through the frosting like a road cut. Sink stacked high, plates tattooed with dried sauce, forks stuck like flags. On the fridge, magnets held up a collage. A party flyer from somewhere called the Velvet Room. A handwritten list that read, ice, vodka, lime, don't text Gloria. I took a picture of the list, then another wider, catching the silence equals peace sign beside it. The marker lines were thick, confident, practice made smooth. I opened the pantry. Empty shelves where staples should be. A half bag of chips. Air mostly. Back to the hall. The bathroom mirror had a kiss mark where someone had practiced. The toilet paper roll was a brown bare spool. In the bedroom, the bed was neat. Military neat. The edges tucked like a promise. The closet, though, thinned out. Hangers facing forward like ribs. Marcus's side a gap-toothed grin. I lifted the will folder from the nightstand and laid it open on the bedspread. My name, their names, the lines I'd signed in the old world, steady as a porch rail. I took a photo of the first page, then the second. The top drawer had a smaller folder. Insurance papers, the house deed, the title to my mother's vintage Cadillac. The title made my stomach go cold and hot at once. The sale price number sat there, black and unmoving. The day Keisha grinned behind the wheel flashed. Then I forced the picture back into paper. Evidence, not memories. The doorbell rang. A sharp, fast series. Neighbor knock, not stranger. I tucked the folders under my arm and shuffled down the hall. The bell went again before I reached it. I opened to Mr. Ellis from across the street. There, with his garden gloves and a face that had turned concern into an art. Behind him, his little brown dog strained at a leash, nails skittering. He took me in like a photograph. Hospital pallor, bandage line under a loose blouse, slow breath. Gloria. He squeezed the name. Oh, honey. You're home. Trying it out, I said. He leaned in as if the threshold were a secret. I heard. Well, I didn't hear, but the cars, you know. He tilted his head toward my drive where fresh tire crescents smiled in the dust. I stepped back to let him look without stepping in. He did. The house was honest with him, too. His mouth pinched. They had some celebration. Balloons. He lowered his voice. Do you need anything? My wife can do soup. I'm okay. Thank you. The papers under my arm weighed more than paper. I brought you the mail. He offered a rubber-banded stack. Some of it looked important. A glare of a windowed envelope winked in the middle. Appreciate it. He peered past me like a meteorologist divining a week's forecast from a sky. Marcus not here. Not right now. The truth pinned to the board. He looked at the party trash again, the tiara catching his eye. Well, if he shows up and he wants to talk at you more than listen, you send him to me first. I'll soften him up. He tried to make it a joke. It landed and didn't. Thank you, I said again. I might need another set of eyes this afternoon. Any hour, he said. My wife naps at 2. I'm useless then. Otherwise, I am a soldier. He tightened his grip on the dog leash. Text me. Don't you be proud. I'll text. When I closed the door, the quiet folded back down. I sorted the mail on the dining table, making piles. Bills, offers, a glossy thing from a furniture store, 2 medical envelopes with my name stuck through the windows. I slit one. Numbers, coded words, the math of what it costs to be alive when your heart stops. I put it on the stack and opened the second. More math. I stacked that too. I took the will folder and the house deed and slid them into my old leather tote bag. The strap creaked like an old door. The attorney note I'd written last night, big letters, decisive, went on top. In the hall mirror, I checked the bandage edge. The skin around it was a new color I didn't have a name for yet. I buttoned the blouse just enough to keep the world from looking at me like I was breaking. In the living room, my phone buzzed. Unknown number again. I let it pass to voicemail. Another buzz. Text from the same unknown. Mrs. Gloria, this is Erin Vale's office. We can see you today at 3:15 if you're available. Reply yes to confirm. I replied yes. Another text slid in. Bring ID and any estate documents. Our building has garage parking. Validation covered. The dog next door barked at the air. Somewhere a lawnmower started its summer argument. I set a timer on the stove. 2 hours to gather what mattered. Evidence sweep. Second pass. Junk drawer. Keys to a storage lockbox I barely remembered renting. A thick stack of takeout menus. A single photo strip of Keisha and Marcus making faces. Laughing faces. I slipped the strip into the bag, Not because it was evidence, but because it would turn into ammunition if I left it on the field. Under the couch cushion, a lighter with a club logo. In the hallway shelf basket, envelopes stamped with my name. Return address, a bank I didn't use. Marcus's. I didn't open them. The weight said they were statements. I bagged them anyway. On the nightstand, the cheap bracelet I'd bought at a flea market because Marcus liked things that looked like they had already lived a life. It lay coiled, unclasped. I left it. Evidence of nothing I needed. My phone buzzed again. This time, Keisha. You changed the Wi-Fi password? I blinked. I hadn't. The router must have reset with the power blip last week. I typed, no, maybe reboot it. A bubble. Whatever. Also, where's the Cadillac title? She had never asked where the title was. Titles exist to be asked for only when something is about to be done to them. Why? I typed. Just wondering. Then a second later, relax. Relax. The word that always meant don't, because the person saying it wouldn't. I put the phone face down. The Cadillac title was already in my bag, its ink breathing like a sleeping animal. The number on the sale line was there, not blinking, refusing to get smaller. I locked the front door and stood a second. The silence equals peace sign on the fridge faced the room like a philosophy. I took it down, folded it twice, and slipped it into the bag. Outside, heat bent the air into waves. I walked the drive like a woman on a balance beam. The car coughed, then started. I sat with my hands on the wheel until my heart settled into something that could be called a rhythm. The downtown building for Vale and Associates was glass and patience. A receptionist smiled the smile people smile at women who look like they might still be bleeding somewhere under their clothes. Mrs. Gloria? She asked. Yes. Erin will be right with you. She slid a clipboard forward. You can start these. The forms were practical. Name, address, emergency contact. I left that last line empty and put the pen down. A door opened. A woman in her 40s with sleeves rolled neat and eyes that did not hurry stepped out. Mrs. Gloria, I'm Erin Vale. We shook. Her grip was warm and not apologetic. Come on back. Her office had the quiet of a library and the clarity of a cross-examination. I set the bag on the chair beside me like it might run if I didn't keep a hand on it. So, she said, settling, tell me what brings you to me today. I took out the will and slid it across the desk. The ink of my notes stared up, dark and clean. My heart stopped, I said. 47 seconds. I tapped the page. And I want my life to too. The way it's written here. She read the note. Her mouth didn't move much, but her eyebrows did something small and satisfied. All right, she said. We can fix a life on paper faster than the other kind, but both are possible. She looked me in the eye. Are you sure? Yes. Good. She pulled a legal pad toward her and clicked a pen. Let's begin with what you want not to happen. I opened the bag. Paper breathed. I started laying out evidence. Will, deed, Cadillac title, bank envelopes, the folded silence equals peace sign. I added the photo I'd taken of the party list, the lipstick tiara selfie I'd snapped for the court of public opinion that wasn't a court. I moved the pieces like a woman showing a map to a guide. Erin nodded as she arranged them into neat fate-making rows. We'll revoke and replace, she said. We'll move assets where hands can't reach. We'll set terms that teach. Teach. Consequences, she said. They're a kind of education for everyone. Her pen clicked again. First decision. Are you comfortable if this gets loud? I thought of the unknown voicemails. The neighbor glances. The way Marcus could turn a whisper into weather. I thought of the number on the Cadillac title that didn't change no matter how long I stared at it. Yes, I said. If loud gets it done, then we'll make a little noise, she said, a small smile ghosting. I can have drafts by morning. We'll need your signature and a witness. We can notarize here. She checked her calendar. I also recommend a charitable trust with clear conditions. If family wants to show up, they can, on the terms of your boundaries. Good, I said. 3:15 to 4:30, she said, glancing at the clock. We can get the bones set today. Do it. Erin pulled a blank form from a drawer, slid it to me. Start here. I'll prepare the pieces. I picked up the pen. My fingers remembered last night and didn't shake as much this time. As the stroke hit the paper, my phone buzzed in the bag. A text preview flashed on the lock screen. Marcus. We need to talk tonight. Erin's eyes flicked to the screen, then back to me, as if to say later. We're building, she said. I know, I said, and signed my name where the old one was about to end. Erin slid a stack across the desk like a dealer who decided the game should finally be fair. Revocation, she said, tapping the first page. Replacement. Pour over to a new trust. Clear conditions. Tap, tap, tap. And this is the charitable instrument we discussed. If you approve, we'll notarize today and file the notices. Paper moves faster than gossip, if you start it moving. Start it, I said. She angled the lamp. The pages glowed. My name threaded through them like a wire. Read aloud the key lines, Erin said. Let your ears hear what your hands are about to do. I did. The words didn't stutter. I revoke. I appoint. I direct. I was speaking in a voice that felt like a spine. Erin watched for a flinch and didn't find one. She paged to conditions. This part is simple because simple holds up in a storm. Her pen hovered. If family wants access, you want what? Work, I said. Proof of it. Sobriety, if that's a thing. Counseling. A year of their life not riding on mine. Benchmarks, she said, writing. Documentable. No loopholes called love. The door clicked. A paralegal with a bun neat enough to be architectural stepped in with a metal rectangle and a tiny press. Notary ready, she said. And the stamps are warm. Erin looked at me. You sure about the charity component? We can do it later, but it belongs in the same blood flow. Now, I said. Something that outlives the noise. She nodded. Heart Foundation South, she said, filling the blank. Unless you prefer anonymous. I thought of the hospital light. Samuel's steady voice. The way the community went quiet and then didn't. Name it, I said. Let them know where it came from. Copy. She scribbled, then sat back. Sign here, here, and here. The pen felt heavier than the hospital pen. My signature lay where the old one had lived, just darker now, more present. The paralegal slid the notary block under the margin and pressed. Metal kissed paper with a thock. The seal bit like little teeth, a circle of permanence. Erin arranged the signed pages into new stacks, her fingers quick and sure. We'll record the deed transfer notice today, she said. Trust becomes the lock. You hold the key. You hold a copy, I said. 2 copies, she said, almost smiling. And I don't lose things. We moved to the conference table for witnesses. The receptionist came in, read the attest lines aloud, and added her name with a flourish like she was signing a yearbook. The paralegal stamped again. Thock. Erin snapped a folder shut. Next stop, county clerk for the deed notice. Then a quick thing at the bank. After, you choose whether to go quiet or not. Not, I said. The word surprised me by not surprising me. She checked her watch. We can make it before the lunch line. I stood. My chest tugged, a small reminder of the zipper hiding under cotton. Erin noticed and slowed her stride without making it a mercy. The elevator hummed like it had an opinion. In the lobby, a television over the reception desk ran a loop of weather and traffic. A banner crawled the bottom. Local Foundation Spotlight tonight. A tiny heart logo pulsed at the corner. See, Erin said lightly. Noise exists. You just choose which kind. Outside, heat made the street a soft mirage. Erin drove. I didn't argue. Her car smelled like paper and lemon. She didn't fill the silence with law. She let the city pass. At the county building, air conditioning hit us like a firm handshake. The clerk's office was a choreography of take a number and wait for your alphabet. Erin knew the dance. She threaded to a window with a clerk who looked like she measured days in stamps. Erin slid papers under glass. Transfer notice for 1842, Magnolia Street to Gloria Family Trust, she said. Record today, please. The clerk read the names with the bored care of someone who'd seen every version of every mistake. She paused at Marcus and Keisha, then at the trust language. Her eyes flicked to me and found the hospital paleness. You sure you want to do this today? She asked, neutral as weather. Yes, I said. Okay. She lined up the edge and brought down a red date stamp with the passion of a judge. Whump. Recorded. The sound echoed. It sounded like a door closing that needed to close. Bank, Erin said on the way out, already texting something that made insurance happen as if by magnetism. We'll update beneficiaries, redirect autopay, and pull cash into the trust account for the first moves. You won't be stranded. At the bank, the manager had a tie like a safety strip and a handshake that didn't linger. Erin ran the meeting with a beat count. This account stays. That one moves. Automatic payments go here. Statements to this address. I initialed until initials looked like a new language. The manager printed a new card in a machine that sounded like a small jet and slid it in a paper sleeve. You're, He started. Husband, I said. He nodded, color blooming under his collar. He will no longer see statements. Good, I said. My voice had less air in it and more iron. We walked out into the bank lobby and my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost let it go again, then answered because the day felt like a hinge and hinges sometimes need oil. Mrs. Gloria? A man's voice, quick, professional, carrying warmth like a spare sweater. Yes. This is Russell with Heart Foundation South. First, congratulations on your recovery. We saw the hospital internal note about a patient story and a potential gift. No expectations, just wanted to say thank you for even considering it. Erin watched my face. I put him on speaker. Russell, I said, we just signed. There was a little sound on his end, not quite a gasp. You did. We did, Erin said. Erin Vale, counsel. Oh. Russell recalibrated. Well, that is. Mrs. Gloria, this will make an immediate difference. If you're open to it, our community team is preparing a segment with local Channel 11 about cardiac care access, patient stories, donor impact, nurse perspectives. It's tonight, 6 o'clock, if we can assemble it. If not, later in the week. Erin met my eyes. Loud, she mouthed. Russell hurried on, cautious. You don't have to appear. We can anonymize, but I believe, please forgive my boldness, that your story would matter a lot. Does matter mean drama? I asked. It means someone at home decides to go to the ER, he said, plain as a bandage. It also means our clinic keeps its doors open on Saturdays. The cameras help with both. A beat. The bank doors hissed every time someone forgot the sensor shutter lag. The afternoon had tilted toward edges. Erin said, we can frame conditions. Russell said, our producer is ethical. We don't ambush. We let you say what you want and you can say what you don't. I thought of the fridge sign and the lipstick tiara and the finger trench through the cake. I thought of Keisha asking for the Cadillac title like it was a snack. I thought of Marcus's message. We need to talk tonight. Talk with him had always meant me listening to a verdict I hadn't asked a court for. Where? I asked. Our studio, Russell said. Or in your home if that's easier. Not my home, I said too fast. My chest tugged. Studio. Erin nodded, approving of the boundary like it was a clause. Russell's relief warmed the line. We'll send a car so you don't drive. There's a makeup person who will make the lights kinder. The anchor is Janet. She's good at this. What time? 5 for 6, he said. We'll get you out by 6:45, 7 at the latest. My phone buzzed again. It was Keisha stacking texts. You at the bank. Mom says you're being crazy. Answer your phone. Where are you? I let them stack. Erin stepped a little aside, granting the illusion of privacy. Mrs. Gloria will appear, she told Russell. Names as written. No address, no mention of specific assets. Focus on care access and gratitude for the staff. One question on family boundaries may be addressed. Anything beyond that we cut. That's fair, Russell said. We'll prep questions in advance. Send them to me, Erin said. Keisha's bubbles kept coming. If you change the will, I swear. Don't do anything you can't undo. The warning landed too late. It always had. I'll be there, I told Russell. Send the car. Thank you, he said, and I heard a room around him go soft with the kind of cheer people let themselves breathe when something lands. We hung up. Erin put a hand on my shoulder, a precise weight. You know what story you're telling? Yes, I said. The one where I stopped using apologies as spare keys. She smiled without teeth. Let's get you home to rest an hour. Then we go make some news. In the parking lot, the sky had the hard blue of a polished stone. Erin's phone dinged. Russell's questions arriving like a promise. My phone vibrated in pulses. Marcus, now. The rhythm urgent. Tonight. 7. We're coming over. Erin saw the message. Boundaries, she said. Locks, I said. Both, she said. We drove. The hospital had been a place where I was held together by science and strangers. The clerk's stamp had been a door. The bank had been a map. The call had been a fuse. At a red light, my reflection in the windshield glass looked like a woman halfway between two lives. Gloria, Erin said, gentle. Yeah. Before we go on air, she said, you'll get one last chance to decide how loud. Everyone deserves one last chance. I nodded. The light changed. We crossed the intersection. My phone lit again. An unknown number with the station's call letters beneath it. Russell's text. Car confirmed. 4:20 pickup. And then from Russell again, stripped of niceties, the kind of sentence that reshapes a spine. They'd like it public. The car pulled up at 4:20 like a promise kept. Erin stood on my porch, phone in one hand, folder in the other. I locked the door, checked the handle, checked it again. Ready? She asked. As I'll be. Mr. Ellis waved from across the street, his dog already taking my departure personally. He called, You look good for TV. You hear me? Like it could be a spell. The driver didn't ask questions. Erin briefed him anyway. Studio entrance, security desk, name on the list. My phone buzzed steady in my pocket. Marcus stacking messages into a wall. We're coming at 7. Answer me. Don't embarrass us. Then Keisha. You're not doing this. Erin looked out the window, not at the screen. We don't respond, she said, as if narrating a nature documentary. We set terms on air. The station building was glass and steel and espresso smell. Security scanned licenses that didn't shake anymore. A young producer named Leah met us with a clipboard and a breathless competence that moved air. Mrs. Gloria, Miss Vale, thank you for coming. She walked while talking. Green rooms this way. Janet will pre-brief in 5. We'll do a 2-camera sit-down. Russell is here. Everyone knows boundaries. Bathroom to the right. She pushed open a door to a room the size of a small confession. A couch, a mirror framed with soft bulbs, bottled water lined in ranks. The TV on the wall showed the 6 o'clock teaser loop. A red bar at the bottom read, "Hearts Open, a local survival story." Leah handed me a page. Prep questions in bold. Erin scanned first, pencil already up. "How are you feeling today? Walk us through those first hours after surgery. Who showed up for you? Why give to Heart Foundation South? What changes at home after a scare like that? Boundaries pre-cleared. What do you want viewers to know?" Erin circled 3 and 5. "We keep these tight," she said. "Name no one. State behavior. Claim boundary." "Okay," I said. A makeup artist in black slid in like a shadow with brushes for hands. "Hi, I'm Mary. We'll keep it natural. Powder. A tiny sweep under eyes. A dab of something that erased hospital nights." "You're doing great," Mary said, the way nurses say it when you're not. "But you will be." Russell peeked in, already shining with production adrenaline. "Gloria, thank you." He touched his heart with a flat palm. "This matters." "It will," Erin said for me. "Janet will hit the community angle hard," Russell said. "If she strays, I'll cut." "She won't stray." The door eased open again. Janet stepped in. Camera jawline, anchor calm, a blazer that made color a decision. She shook my hand like we had both already been introduced to the same storm. "Gloria," she said, "we'll keep you safe." I believed her just enough. She perched on the arm of a chair, not sitting like a guest. "We'll start soft," she said. "People need your humanity before your heroics. Then we go to access, nurses, the foundation. One question about home life. You answer as you want. I won't chase." She looked at Erin. "Scouts honor." Erin's mouth tipped. "You keep scouts. News has a few," she said. "We just don't always put them on camera." A stagehand with a headset appeared in the doorway and gave the circular wrap-it-up motion. Leah checked a clock. 5:41. "Walk time," she said. The hallway to the studio was colder than the rest of the building. Lights needed the air to breathe. We stepped through double doors into a set that looked like a living room if a living room had satellites. 2 chairs angled to a camera like they were sharing a secret. Monitors framed the city in high definition it didn't consent to. "Mic her," someone said, and a technician clipped a pack to my waistband and fed a wire up under my blouse with practiced respectful hands. "Earpiece?" he asked. "Sure." The tiny curl tucked behind my ear made voices feel like they lived there. Leah's voice arrived first, disembodied and bright. 30 out. Janet sat opposite me and gave a tiny nod that meant, "I see you, and also don't run." Erin stood just off-set behind a glowing strip of tape, a general who could not step onto the field. Russell hovered near the monitor bank, hand on his headset like he could will the signals to behave. The studio countdown clock glowed. 5 hours 59 minutes and 22 seconds. "Gloria," Janet said softly, real voice now, not anchor. "If at any point you want to stop, say the word, pause. We'll throw to break. You'll look like a pro who asked for water." "Okay," I said. My mouth was dry suddenly. Mary appeared from nowhere and handed me a bottle. I drank once, twice. The earpiece crackled. 45, Leah said. VO ready. Hot package loaded. Standby studio. Janet shuffled her cards. Theater for cameras. "Tell the truth," she said to me, still quiet. "That's all TV ever owes anybody." My phone shook in my pocket like a small animal. I didn't look. Erin did from the wings, and her eyes clipped to mine. No. The vibrations kept coming. I pictured Marcus at the kitchen counter, angled like a prosecuting attorney. Keisha pacing, thumbs firing. I pictured the silence equals peace sign now folded in my bag on the chair in the green room. The crease through the piece like a fault line. A floor manager held up a hand with 5 fingers spread. Then 4, 3, 2, 1. Red tally light bloomed on camera too. "Good evening," Janet said. Anchor voice filled the room like a tide. "Tonight, a story about a heart that stopped for 47 seconds and everything that started after." She turned to me, eye contact like a rope thrown. "Gloria, thank you for being here." "Thank you for having me," I said. My voice worked. It came from somewhere deeper than nerves. "How are you feeling today?" "Grateful," I said. "Sore. Lucky beyond math." A package rolled on the monitor. A montage of hospital hallways. A close-up of gloved hands. A nurse silhouette that was not Samuel but could have been his cousin. Russell's team had cut a clean thing. Janet landed the first question back on me like a plane. "Walk us through those hours after surgery." I told it simple, like we'd practiced and like I'd lived it. White ceiling tiles, Dr. Hayes's voice, the words, "triple bypass," 47 seconds, a nurse who spoke like a metronome that could keep a person rowing back to shore. I didn't make poetry. I made facts into a raft. "Who showed up for you?" Janet asked. Softer. "The staff," I said. "A nurse named Samuel. People whose names I don't know who made sure I could stand and breathe and find my phone." "And at home," she said, careful with the softness. "At home," I said. It became clear who considered the quiet comfortable. I let the sentence sit. I looked at the lens and felt the weight of my house. "So I'm choosing a different kind of quiet." Janet nodded, not pouncing. "You've made a gift today to Heart Foundation South." "Yes." "Why?" "Because someone's Saturday clinic needs to be open when a woman ignores pain too long. Because the people who kept me alive shouldn't do it with duct tape budgets. Because gratitude that doesn't get legs stays a feeling and never becomes a fact." A tiny sound from the crew that wasn't quite a clap. "Beautiful," Leah said in my ear. Janet glanced at her card, number 5, and then didn't look back down. What changes at home after a scare like that? I breathed. The earpiece made the breath sound amplified. "I set boundaries," I said. "I stopped confusing being needed with being loved. I stopped financing my own absence." Janet let it be a sentence, then a point, then a small silence that could go anywhere. "We've got 30, Leah said in my ear. "Close, strong. What do you want viewers to know?" Janet asked. "That help counts," I said. "Show up for someone before the obituary. And if your heart whispers, listen before it shouts." Janet held my look one beat longer. Something like respect there. "Gloria," she said to the camera. "Thank you." She turned back to the lens. "If you'd like to support Heart Foundation South, we've linked resources on our site." The graphic over her shoulder pulsed a little heart. "After the break, a look at the community clinic this gift will keep open." She pointed one finger down. The floor manager windmilled. The red light blinked off. "We're clear," Leah said in my ear. 2 minutes. Air came back into the room from some hidden vent. My phone vibrated like it had decided to grow legs. Aaron stepped onto the tape line at last, a smile that had fought its way through a war. Russell exhaled like he'd been carrying a piano on his back. "That," he said, hand to heart, "that is what matters." Leah was already counting down from 30 for the next block. But this was the moment that would outlive the B-roll. Janet leaned in just enough so only the nearby lived in it. "Nicely done," she said. "It's about to get noisy." On the wall monitor, the teaser for the next segment rolled. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw my phone finally give up and pop a name onto the lock screen despite the setting. Marcus. Then another barreling over it. Keisha. The floor manager raised her hand again, fingers splayed. "Back in 5, Leah said. "Standby studio." The red tally light bloomed like a small patient sun. The second block rolled. Clinic footage and nurse interviews. And then a promo for high school sports tried to lighten the air. The red light went dark for good. "Clear. We're out." Leah's voice softened in my ear. "Thank you, Gloria." Applause that wasn't for television, but for relief rustled from the crew. Aaron squeezed my shoulder once. Professional triumph kept in its suit. Russell met us at the edge of the set. You just bought us 6 months of Saturdays, he said, eyes bright. More if the phones do what I think they will. He nodded toward the newsroom row where people were already answering calls, heads bent, pens moving. The graphic on the wall read, Donate, Heart Foundation South, and the numbers under it began to tick. Janet shook my hand again, two-handed this time. You did it clean, she said. No strays. The home line was perfect. Thank you, I said, because I didn't know what else to say that wasn't a flood. Leah guided me back to the green room, the mic guy trailing to reclaim his wire. The earpiece popped free and the world got 3 degrees louder. My phone finally allowed it say. It erupted. The lock screen stacked notifications like bricks. Marcus 12. Keisha 23. Unknown numbers. Don't say how many. A new one landed on top. Marcus again. Answer me now. I didn't. Aaron lifted a hand. We slid the door shut. Mary swabbed away TV sheen in 3 quick motions like she was erasing a scene partner's fingerprints. Any dizziness? She asked. No, I said. Just gravity. Russell tapped the door frame. Cars downstairs whenever you're ready. Thank you again. Truly. Aaron signed whatever paperwork producers need for their guards and walked me to the elevator. Phone on airplane until we're off the property, she said. I flipped the setting. The buzz died like a hive finally deciding to sleep. Outside, evening had that crisp edge the city gets when day heat lifts. Erin opened the back door and let me slide in. She took the seat beside me like counsel in a moving court. You okay? She asked. I think so. She nodded. Home then locks. She looked at her folder. And remember, you owe no one a debrief. Traffic flowed around us, the station shrinking in the rear window. When we turned onto my street, porch lights were coming on like polite stars. Mr. Ellis stood on his stoop with the dog and a casserole dish and a face that wanted to cheer but had been taught by life to modulate. He waved us in. We pulled into my drive. I checked the front windows out of habit. No silhouettes. Erin scanned too, reflex in her shoulders. I'll walk you to the door, she said. At the threshold, I slid the key in like a ritual. The living room held its breath. Nothing had moved since I'd left except the light. The silence equals peace sign was gone from the fridge because I'd taken it. The house looked like a photo of itself. Airplane mode off. The hive woke. The first call landed before the icons finished jittering back to life. Marcus. Then a second line. Keisha. Then the local number I knew was Elaine, Marcus's sister. Erin tilted her head. You pick neither. I hit decline. Voicemails began to spool. Texts stacked. Marcus. What did you do? Keisha says you were at the bank. You humiliated us on television. We are coming over. Do not lock the door. If you change the will. Keisha. You made me look stupid. People are texting me screenshots. I didn't even watch, but I heard. Answer me. We're 10 minutes out. A new thread pinged from an unknown number. I opened it because habit is dumb. You don't know me, but I saw the segment. My sister died last year because she ignored the whispers. Thank you for saying it out loud. Another. We donated. For my mom. 4 Saturdays. The kindness cut sharper than the fury. I sat at the edge of the couch like it might buck. Erin set her folder down. You can read those later. Right now, door policy. Locks, I said. Locks, she echoed. And language. When they come, you say, not tonight. We'll meet at Erin's office tomorrow at noon. You repeat it. Know them on your rug. If they attempt entry, you call the police and say those exact words. Attempted unlawful entry. I have counsel. You put me on speaker. Okay. We did a walkthrough like you do before a storm. Back door locked. Garage door down. Bedroom window latches seated. The Cadillac space in the garage looked like a missing tooth, a fact that had the weight of choices I couldn't unmake but could stop repeating. Back in the kitchen, my phone lit with a voicemail transcription. This is Marcus. You answer me, Gloria. You don't get to smear your family on TV and hang up. You think a trust makes you a hero? It makes you small. We're not playing your game. Open the door. A second transcription rolled in from Keisha. You think you're tough? Everyone knows where we live. You just made it worse. Don't lock me out of my own house. Don't, Mama, don't. The message clipped. A third voicemail started to transcribe, then jammed under a flood. Headlights swept across the front windows. Not my car. Not a neighbor pulling into their slot with a grocery run. Headlights that slowed like argument deciding where to park. Erin turned off the living room lamp with a finger on the switch. We're not hiding, she said quietly. We're de-escalating visibility. The driveway gravel hissed under tires. Doors opened. The slam was familiar music turned up a notch too far. Voices, too, braided. Marcus's sharp. Keisha's wider. The doorbell didn't ring. Keisha pounded instead, the heel of her hand hitting the wood the way her foot used to hit the side of my leg when she was 5 and impatient for pancakes. Mama, she shouted. Open the door. Erin gave me a look like a single-page script. Your line. I stepped to the door. Not close, just close enough. Not tonight, I said, voice through wood. We'll meet at Erin's office tomorrow at noon. Silence hit. Brittle. Then Marcus's voice, sugary, turned to glass. Cowardice doesn't look good on you, Gloria. People saw you. They heard you. Now they'll hear me. Not tonight, I repeated. Tomorrow, noon, Erin's office. Open this door, Keisha said lower, or I'll. She didn't finish, which was worse. Erin moved to the side where the peephole didn't broadcast our silhouettes. Keep repeating it, she whispered. Not tonight, I said. Tomorrow, noon, Erin's office. Keys rattled. The old spares they'd never returned, trying the lock like old spells. The key slid in, met the new tumblers, and stopped. Marcus exhaled a curse that would have embarrassed his church voice. You changed the locks, he said. Yes, I said. You have no right. I have every right, I said, and surprised myself with how even it came out. This is my home. A slap hit the door. Not a person, a palm. Frustration looking for wood. You put our business on TV, Marcus said. People are calling me. We are owed an explanation. You are owed boundaries, I said. You'll get them in writing at noon. Keisha kicked the step. The vibration climbed the door's bones. You can't cut me out like I'm nothing. I didn't say you're nothing, I said. I said there are terms. You meet them or you don't. That's your choice. Erin nodded once. She had her phone in hand, ready to summon badges if the next beat went feral. A car crept by, slow neighbor eyes behind glass. Mr. Ellis's porch light clicked on. His little dog announced the scene like a town crier who had finally found work worth shouting about. Last time, Marcus said, voice gone flat. Open the door. Not tonight, I said. Tomorrow, noon, Erin's office. Silence, except for the dog. Then Keisha again, reaching for the threat she always used when we got near the end of our old script. What about the car? The title isn't tonight's topic, I said. You sold it for me because you love me, she said, like a spell that might still work. You remember that? I remember paying for mistakes with money, I said. Tomorrow, noon. She laughed, a hard sound that bounced wrong in the porch air. You think you're a hero because you talked pretty for a camera? You're just a woman with a pen and a new lock. That's enough, Erin said, her voice finally at the door, counsel stepping into scene. This conversation is concluded. Further attempts to enter will be documented and referred to the police. Tomorrow, noon. Silence again. Shoes shuffled. The car door opened. Closed. Opened. Someone paced. The engine turned over, then stuttered off. They weren't leaving. They were shifting the board. My phone buzzed in my hand. A new number. I put it to my ear because adrenaline makes you do unwise things. Mrs. Gloria? A woman's voice. Smooth. Janet from the studio. We're getting calls asking if you'll join the morning show to talk about family boundaries. No pressure. Not tonight, I said and hung up, half laughing at the echo of my own line. Erin raised an eyebrow. Tomorrow problem. Headlights washed the front window brighter. Not the ones in the drive, another car drifting to a stop behind them. The porch light haloed Marcus's silhouette. Keisha's shadow cut taller than she was. She leaned in close to the peephole like she could see me with Will alone. Mama, she said, softer now. Dangerous soft. If you don't open this door, I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of mother you are. Then tell them, I said. Tell them I lived and learned. The second car's engine clicked off like a gun safety. A door opened. Footsteps we didn't know climbed the walk, slow, measuring. The kind of walk that belongs to someone who believes they're invited anywhere. Erin's hand hovered over her phone. Ready, she whispered. Outside, the new footsteps stopped. Someone cleared a throat. A female voice, unfamiliar, said, "Evening." Marcus turned, coil spring tight. Keisha's shoulders went square. "Who are you?" she demanded. The woman didn't answer right away. She let the question hang, then said, "I'm here about that story on TV.